Okay, we're going to open the City of Chelsea Traffic and Parking Commission meeting. Okay, first item, approval of the minutes from the March 2nd, 2021 meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, communication July 14, 2020, from Joseph Perlatonda, 89 Clinton Street, requesting to look into placing speed bumps to slow down traffic on Clinton Street.
Excellent. Would you like to provide public comment on this?
So Joseph Perlatonda, 89 Clinton Street. So I requested a couple of speed bumps put on Clinton Street due to the high traffic volume there with people speeding up and down the street. Last year, July, there was a horrendous motorcycle accident there on the street where somebody was pulling out actually in front of my house, and the motorcycle didn't see the car, slammed into the car, flipped over, and slid down the street. There's the projects down the end of the street, put a lot of young kids there. There's new families that moved in right around like 69 Clinton Street, and I'm just worried about the safety of everybody there as well. There's also at 69 Clinton Street, North Suffolk Mental Health is going to be going into that residence there, and I'm afraid for their safety as well because of their disabilities, of people flying up and down the street. I requested a couple of speed bumps there. I mean, we don't have to put permanent speed bumps in there, but maybe during, like in the spring this time of year, we can put a couple of rubber speed bumps there, and in the wintertime, when they start plowing the street, maybe they can pull them up so there's no problem there. Because usually in the wintertime, it's not too bad, but as we reach now, it's spring going into summer, I mean, people are flying up and down that street. DPW Fidel was actually gracious enough to put a sign there that tells people how fast they're going, but people don't adhere to that. I think the police department put one up, a signboard up a while ago, watching the cars going up and down. The same thing, it's crazy. And with the traffic coming off Eastern Avenue and Crescent Street, coming down the street into Clinton, I mean, it's all jammed up there, and with cars flying up and down the street, it's a safety hazard for the people living there, also for the pedestrians. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare. Just don't want to see anybody else get hurt. That person that was on the motorcycle could have got killed. Actually, I think he just got some bruising and maybe a broken leg. But there's kids right after 69 Clinton Street, where I had some signs put up years ago as well that Fidel put up. School kids, slow down children, but people are still flying up and down the street. So I'm hoping that we could have speed bumps put in there to slow the traffic down to deteriorate, some of this misfortune that may happen. I hate to see somebody get hurt there. I think it's a real safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so thank you for providing that public comment. So generally, when we're looking at areas with high rates of speed, we look to see if there are other options to calm traffic and slow rates of vehicles traveling. Because these safety issues have been persistent and because signage and other conventional means have been ineffectual to date, I would be open to supporting a temporary speed bump on a pilot basis to see if it's an effective means of slowing traffic in this area. I do understand, though, that this has to be balanced with the fire department and public safety considerations. And because they're not here this evening to weigh in, before rendering a final decision, I think I would be most comfortable tabling this to the next meeting, conferring with the fire department, and ensuring that there is consensus amongst the commission in order to make the decision.
Yeah, just to piggyback on Alex's comments, this commission receives requests for speed bumps every meeting, right? I mean, so we have received a request for speed bumps on Essex Street. Actually, on the agenda today, there's another request on Essex Street. We received it on Summit Ave. We received it on Hurt Street, and it's not to say that it's unwarranted. It's just I think this commission as a whole has to make an approach, right? I mean, that's consistent and is can be applied in every case, right? So to echo what Alex said, the fire department has been adamant about not approving speed bumps. And the reason is because they say that it causes damages on their vehicle, which are obviously very important and expensive, and it slows them down, right, as they're trying to get to an event. So I think that you know, a concerted conversation with the fire department in particular is important, because you know, we have historically denied these requests because the fire department is here and says that, you know, that they won't allow them. So I will second Alex's request that we table this item to the next meeting and hopefully have the fire department render a recommendation on it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the two permanent speed bumps on Washington Avenue are the ones that come up all the time, right? I mean, and they use that as an argument against doing them everywhere else. So, no, I don't think so on Grove. I don't know, I don't recall.
It's not raised intentionally as a speed bump. No, there are other traffic calming measures on that street. So I was just going to say, in the interim, between now and the next meeting, I can also confer with our traffic engineering consultants to explore if there are other traffic calming measures that could be appropriate here. I did have a preliminary conversation with them earlier this morning and asked them to analyze options in addition to any speed bumps that might be effective. But as Fidel was indicating, you know, I think the consistency of the commission's approach is just really important. You know, we want to ensure that we're applying the same decision-making standard to all requests, and because the fire department isn't present tonight, you know, we can't use that consistent approach. So I would make a motion to table this and take this up at the May meeting, and while we can consult the fire department.
And you seconded?
Yes,
Okay.
I second that
All right.
motion.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, communication of September 23rd from Councilor Recupero requesting the commission to look into placing speed bumps between Suffolk Street and Marginal Street and on Essex Street between Highland Street and Lynn Street.
So similar to the preceding request, I would make a motion to table this request until the May meeting when we can confer with the fire department.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing to receive comment regarding a request to install an electric vehicle charging station on City Hall Avenue.
I have one communication that came from one resident, so I'll just read it. This is from Lisa Sandegate from 221 Shirtliff Street, apartment 3. I am writing at this time in support of the proposed electric vehicle charging station on City Hall Ave. As a resident of 221 Shirtliff Street, directly across from the City Hall, I know firsthand that available parking in the downtown area is difficult to come by during the day and especially at night. I am also aware that an electric vehicle charging station will mean the removal of 2 metered parking spaces. Basically, a neighborhood already stretched for parking will be stretched even further. In spite of these facts, I fully endorse the placement of an electric vehicle charging station on City Hall Ave. It will help our city from an environmental perspective and will also put us in a good position as we see a national decrease in the future production of gasoline-powered cars. Thank you for the opportunity to convey my position on this matter. Please reach out with any questions.
Excellent. So from our department's vantage point, we strongly support this request and the deployment of electrical vehicle charging stations throughout the city. We do acknowledge that on-street parking demands and the needs of residents to access metered parking is one of the paramount priorities of the commission and our department. However, because of the growth of electric vehicles and the adoption rate of those vehicles, it is important from our perspective to expand the charging infrastructure in the city, make them more accessible for residents in order to, foster this transition over to clean energy.
Is that a motion?
So I'd make a motion to approve this request as presented.
Second?
I'd second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, communication on March 5th from the Commissioner of DPW, Fidel Maltese, to change the 2 parking meters in front of E911 from 2-hour maximum to 10-hour maximum.
Thank you. So just to piggyback on what Alex said earlier, we installed our first charging station in Chelsea about 2 years ago on the Chestnut Street parking lot, and I would argue that these 2 locations are very similar in terms of parking impact. Initially, when they were installed, we questioned whether they were going to be used, but in the 2 years since they have been installed, we have seen consistent usage, right? And to me, as an engineer and an advocate of clean energy, it just proves the fact that we need to build the infrastructure in order to let change come to our community. So this charging station will be installed by Eversource, and it will actually be installed at no cost to the city of Chelsea. So it is furthermore reason to install it. But those 2 parking meters that are going to be impacted are actually 10-hour parking meters, right? And the 2 meters that are in front of 911 are currently 2-hour meters. So just for the parking efficiency around City Hall, what I would request is that we basically make the 2 parking spots in front of 911 into 10-hour parking meters.
Make a motion to,
Can you speak into the mic?
So somebody can just park there all day long, up to 10 hours? The only thing I'm concerned about is, nothing against, city employees, but, people that don't have a place to park can go out there and feed the meter all day long and stay there for 10 hours, when somebody that's doing business in the city, that may only be there for an hour or something like that, can pop in and out, and we can get more revenue constantly going in to do business within the city. You make those 10-hour meters, somebody's going to sit there all day long, and there's going to be nowhere for anybody to park. Now, I don't know, Rose, if you know, do we overtime meters in Chelsea or not?
On the 2-hour ones, yes.
They do.
You can't do more, it's a maximum of 2 hours.
But on
After
the-
2
but on the-
hours, you'll get ticketed for overfeeding. But
The 10-hour, they can stay there all day long, up to 10 hours?
on
They
the
can-
10-hour, yes, that's
long as
that's
it
why we were gonna, it came to since we're taking 2 10-hour meter spaces out on the side of City Hall Ave, they were looking to see about changing the 2 in front of 911 to replace the 2 that we're removing.
So they're going to replace those two, okay.
That's what the request is to replace the 2 10-hour that's going to be removed to there.
But do we still think it's a good idea because of we're not getting the overflow of people that want to come in and want to park there and visit some of the stores or walk somewhere, and then I can't because somebody's parked there for 10 hours all day long?
Yeah, no, that's that's a valid concern, and it's the reason why it's in front of the commission. So all of the meters on Broadway, I believe, are 10-hour meters, and the meters on Shirtlift are also, and City Hall Avenue are too. I mean, and it is for employees, of course, a benefit, but also for people who come, for long meetings or visitors, to the building, and in theory, we don't lose any revenue, right? Because the meter is always fed. And with the turnover, we actually removed meters on Washington Avenue, if you recall, and we converted them from metered parking to 30-minute parking, where you're required, right, to have that turnover. So those are really the spots, for residents who are coming in and making a quick transaction, right? I mean, you're coming in, you're paying a bill, you're leaving. Also, I believe the first maybe 10 or 12 parking spots in the City Hall lot are 30-minute parking, right? So all in all, it's probably 16 parking meters that are 30-minute only required parking.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to take, make meters 10 hours if it was taken away from the businesses.
Sure.
Especially with the pandemic going on these days, they need the revenue right now. And I just figured if somebody was taking up a space all day, then somebody's driving around in circles and they can't find a space because how busy Broadway is these days. I mean, every space is taken up. So, but if somebody's sitting there longer than they should be, then somebody else has a way to get in and do business as well. So,
Sure.
just a thought.
No, that's very valid. So with that in mind, we could hold public hearing and notify abutters, to those 2 meters and invite them in for public comment. If that's okay with the commission.
I think that's a good idea,
So we'll change that original motion to a public hearing.
Public hearing.
public hearing. So I'd make a motion to move this request to a public hearing.
Okay. Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, communication of March 8th from Jillian Jenkins, 64 Parker Street, requesting to install a blinking red light at the corner of Parker Street and Clark Avenue.
So this has been an intersection that has cropped up in the last couple of years. As folks know, it's prone, again, to high rates of speed. There are sight distance issues, conflicts, and crashes that occur at the intersection because of the overall design of the space. So since we fielded this request, we've contacted our on-call transportation planning and consulting firm, who will be conducting an assessment of the intersection to develop a recommendation for improving safety. That recommendation may include the installation of a blinking red light. It may also include other geometric and operational improvements that are within the city's available budget. So with that said, it'll take them approximately 1 month to develop their assessment and report back to the commission. So I would propose tabling this request until we hear their recommendations.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, communication, March 18th, from Denise Chino, Mi Salvador Mexicano Restaurant, requesting the approval of site plans for outdoor seating parklet at 222 Broadway.
This request was rescinded by the owner. They're just going to they're not going to do the parklets. They're already in the process of getting a permit just for putting a couple of tables on the sidewalk. So they rescinded this request. They're not going to go forward.
Okay,
Okay,
excellent, we'll move on.
thank you.
All right, communication, March 24th, from Thomas Quattromani of the MBTA, requesting the commission's approval to consolidate 2 bus stops at Cary Square.
So Mr. Quattarami wasn't able to attend this evening's meeting due to a conflict. I would propose moving this request to a public hearing since it would affect on-street parking spaces and abutters at the May meeting when the MBTA could also attend and provide comment.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, handicap sign application of March 25th from Edwin Molina at 641 Broadway.
Okay, so currently on Broadway, we have 725 and 850 and 855. We have three handicaps. The closest would be the 725. They sent in a letter, they have no off-street parking. He's a paraplegic in a wheelchair.
I'd make a motion to approve this request.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Communication, March 31st, from Superintendent Dr. Almi Abeda of the Chelsea Public Schools, requesting the commission to allow Chelsea Public School staff to park on residential streets in the vicinity of the Williams School until the end of the school year due to the state's work on the Route 1 viaduct.
If you could please, I'm sorry, please sign your name and then state your name.
Good evening, members of the commission. I'm Monica Lamboy, the Executive Director of Administration and Finance, and I'm here with Joe Cooney, the Director of Buildings and Grounds. We're really happy to announce that we're moving to reopen our schools and bring our students back to our schools. The sounds of children's voices are going to be really welcomed in our buildings. We have a unique situation at the Williams Middle School where the lots that were traditionally used underneath the Route 1 viaduct are still being used by Mass DOT for the construction work. So we are out many, many parking spaces that we would typically have for our staff. I've counted that we have between 120 and 140 people that would, when we're at full enrollment at that building, not everybody will drive and not everybody will be returning when we're back in person, but a large number will. We have the lot that is on our site that is available. We are also in the process of striping the asphalt play area and the basketball court that's on site. Joe can give you a little bit more information about that effort, but we don't believe that's going to accommodate all of the vehicles for our staff, so we are asking for whatever relief might be available on the streets in the vicinity. And then we did note the new parking lot that's right next to the viaduct, if that could possibly be accessible for our staff as well. So certainly we'll defer to what you think is best, but that's the situation that we're in right now.
Okay, and you want to do this by just the use of the stickers, the faculty stickers?
Yes, so our staff has a CPS parking sticker on their vehicles if they're approved for parking by the district.
Okay. Well, just a couple of things with that. They would have to make sure that the sticker's displayed, because if they vote on this and it passes, the sticker has to be displayed or they will get a ticket. And all other things like street sweeping, handicap, they all have to be, no violations.
Okay. But I guess if I could know from where to where, I put specific streets in the letter. If those could be authorized or reduced as you see fit, then we can tell them specifically where the locations would be.
Yeah, I'll say that I cannot imagine what you've been going through in the last 30 days with reopening schools and getting buildings back ready for children after almost a year of being out. I know it's a really hard transition, and I think that we should help in any way possible. Particularly since the construction of the viaduct should be wrapping up in June. So by June, all the construction should be done, and all the parking lots should be transferred over back to the city. And this is something that we did also on Everett Avenue. While the construction of water and sewer was happening there. So I would make a motion to approve this request on the streets as noted on the letter with the caveat that Sergeant Nafto has explained, and that it only be approved until June, or maybe June 30th.
So I think the only caveat I would add to that is that the last location you identified in the letter, the public parking area under Route 1 between 2nd Street and Everett Avenue, I just wanted to clarify, are you referring to the parking lot that MassDOT built underneath the viaduct, or? So that's not currently open to the public. We're in the process of negotiating a lease with them. I expect that those negotiations will take a couple of months at the very least. With that being said, there is that portion of Arlington Street between 2nd Street and Williams. It's a bit of a trek from the Williams Middle School, but there's approximately 20 spaces, so we could add that in if that's of interest to the school department.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And one suggestion, the school parking stickers are small and they're difficult to find. Teachers from the front, the back, the sides. I'd like to suggest we make a 8.5, 11 piece of paper, like orange or red, you guys can actually easily see. Give it to the teachers, they go out by, identify it immediately. It's really tough to find school stickers.
Okay, so I would second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Meeting adjourned.
So Alex, so it's